Okay, well now what we're going to do is we're going to move into the second inventory account, which is work in process. So the concept of work in process is that we have something that has been started but has not yet been completed. So we would at the beginning of an accounting period have uh, some beginning balance of some sort of stage of production, unless it's the very first period that we're working, uh, that we would have nothing there. But ordinarily, what we would have is that we would have some sort of beginning balance of different production in various stages. And so then we would have three items that we would be adding in for during the accounting period. So instead of one item here, so we have the purchase, we have sale on account. Here we're going to have three items here. First, we're going to have, from our raw materials, we're going to have raw materials issued into production come into here. So we'll move those, just move that into here. We can make that a little bit wider. So materials issued into production. Well, another term for that is what's called direct materials. A companion to the direct costs of production, and historically this has been something that we've used this. It used to be a much larger part of production, and that is what's known as our direct labor costs. So this is something that would be given to you in terms of an average wage and how many hours worked, so some sort of function like that. So direct labor would be another cost that would be added into production to help convert the raw materials into something that's going to be saleable. And then finally we have the overhead costs. Now, these overhead costs are indirect in their nature as opposed to the first two that are direct, and so there's can be considerable effort used in terms of trying to allocate those or come up with a way of estimating those, because we don't observe them in real time. We only observe them over the course of a period, and so then we have to come up with some sort of mechanism for allocating overhead. For right now, we're just going to be looking into trying to come up with just kind of build this. This is where it would fit in is a work in process. So this is our work in process to account for. So, and we don't, Excel's being a little too helpful there. So we don't necessarily need that sort of help there. So, I guess I can clean that up even better and just do no fill. Now I feel a little better about that. So we have our ending balance, and then so we take what to account for. We have our beginning balance, items that were added. That's what we have to account for. To say work in process accounted for, well, we have what's left in the ending balance. That is what will become the beginning balance of the next accounting period. So this is the cost of production that is still incomplete. So what needs to go are costs of production that has been completed and transferred out. Now that's a mouthful there. Another term for that is cost of goods manufactured. So cost of goods manufactured. So cost of goods whose manufacture has been completed this accounting period and moved out of work in process, and then where to? Well, it's been completed, so we call that finished goods. So similarly, we will have this process where we have a beginning balance of finished goods. We have, coming into this, the production that's been completed and transferred from work in process, that is the cost of goods manufactured. These are our finished goods to account for. We have our ending balance, and so then we have to finished goods accounted for. Well, we have goods whose production's been completed, but is still sitting here on our balance sheet. That means we still have that. Well, the counterpoint to that is goods that are no longer on our balance sheet because they have moved out of finished goods, and those have moved into cost of goods sold. So when we deal with these inventory accounts, this is something that we always have these uh, bumpers, I guess. If anybody has done bumper bowling, we have these concepts of accounted for, to account for, and accounted for as our way of being able to detail the balance sheet accounts and being able to work our way through. So this is a brief introduction on that. I'll work through a problem here as well.